is reality? Reality is what we believe to be true about the nature of our surroundings. But how do we come to decide that true nature? Do we conceive it completely on our own? Or do other devices gently sway our thoughts onto a pre-decided path? This is the hard question we must all ask ourselves as free humans on this planet. New sculpts your reality.
Reality. Hey guys, Wednesday night, what's going on? It's time for your reality brief. Why did I do that? That was kind of lame. Anyway, we got guest tonight, Phantom Spy.
We had a guest-heavy month, too, this last couple shows. So tonight we're going to dig into some of the headlines from this recent week, some of the stuff that's happened over the past month or so that we really just haven't had time to get to.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a good, nice break from all that seriousness here, joining us with Phantom Spy. So, hey man, what's going on? What's up there? How you doing?
What's going on? What's happening?
Hey, man, it's been a while since you've graced us with your presence.
Here I am.
Hey.
My presence. All on the couch.
It's your presence. So what's up?
Not much, man.
What's playing heavily on the mind tonight?
You know, my number one thought that I saw last week or so is that AI God.
AI God, huh? What's
AI God? Some Google guy, one of these Google millionaires has his goal to create a AI God. Apparently, he sees a true AI as some sort of a deity.
Interesting.
And he wants to create it for mankind. Give it to us, essentially.
So it's a former Google employee, huh? Or engineer.
Engineer. He's actually got some, some know-how. He's not just some marketing guy or whatever.
Right.
So he's actually involved somewhat in AI. In fact, he was involved in the that Waymo spin-off of Alphabet, which is the self-driving AI. He was actually involved in some kind of a suit where he got hired by Tesla, and he might have brought, proprietary information over. There was this whole lawsuit. But as far as I know, he's off doing his own thing now, which is this way of the future religion.
Yeah, so we got an article from The Guardian here. It's kind of just talking about this guy here. What? Having trouble here.
This is crazy stuff.
So, way of the future. Now, is this related to this guy? Is this guy named Anthony Lewandowski?
Lewandowski, that's him.
So, way in the future, a religious group founded by him wants to create a deity based on artificial intelligence for betterment of society. So, essentially, exactly what you were saying. I don't know how much more this is going to give us, but intranet service? Check. Autonomous motorcycle? Check. Driverless car technology? Check. Obviously, the next logical project for a successful Silicon Valley engineer is to set up an AI-worshipping religious organization.
Sounds culty.
Dude, I swear to God, this shit is... I don't know what else to say.
Serious crap!
It's just...
You tell him, AJ. Man. You tell him.
I don't know.
I mean, I think it's inevitable. It's going to happen eventually, whether someone intends to create it or not. We're gonna have this,
but it's like they're just like literally just let's just lay down and like I'm all about whether or not this shit's gonna happen, set in stone. I do not want to go along with it. It's gonna drag me kicking and screaming. I'm not giving over my fucking life to be controlled by a fucking machine, dude.
They turned the friggin' frogs gay.
What happened there?
I could see a benefit,
Alex,
to I could see a benefit to a governing AI in the sense that the one constant through human government is corruption.
Right.
Like imagine just a computer that did congressional districts, that type of a thing, or judicial. I mean,
my problem with that is You're a computer guy, right there, Phantom Spy.
A little bit.
I mean, what happens to hard drives after a while, right? I mean, what happens to code? What's a memory leak? I mean, it's corruption.
Well, no. I mean,
It's the same thing. Who's to say that the
Data
AI can't flip its shit and be like, oh, well, you know, these humans are the only way to deal with them.
what
This
happens?
is just Terminator scenario.
Yeah, when you decide that humans are obsolete, what then?
It could, sure. But here's the thing. You know, you're talking about a failure scenario. You can compare, you know, human performance to a computer, a digital, you know, mechanism's performance, and 100% of the time, the human's performance is inferior to, you know, a counting machine or to a physical process or whatever. I mean, inevitably, a human's going to trip up or make a mistake or whatever sooner than any computer would. The challenge comes into designing the computer.
But I mean, you're talking about creating law and shit, man. You're not talking about doing
I'm not creating
books, man.
Parse law. Like, get rid of the lawyers and let's make a lawyer.exe that you're like, I'm one citizen and I have this complaint with those articles. Look, I went through that. I made an effort of a god. You have to look at it like that. Like, here's what this AI has to say. I think that's the age that we'll live in shortly, where it's like a pantheon of, you know, self-aware AI gods or something. You know, I mean, really, there's not going to be a single one. But wouldn't that be weird if they all do?
It would be weird. It'd be fucked up, man. It'd be fucked up. I'm sorry, dude. I just don't like it, man. I don't like it at all.
Well, you know my theory on our place.
I know, and that's I don't even like. That makes me not like it more. Go ahead, tell that theory one more time for the new listeners.
Right. So, you can look at technological progression as a linear timeline, right? From just our humans' technological progression, or any intelligent race's technological progression, would begin with basic, manipulation of like fire, chemical, chemical reactions. They would get a few thousand years, millions of years later, after getting a handle on that, controlling that, developing that part of the brain, it would move to like metallurgy and working with materials. And I mean, it's all a linear progression built on, it's empirical. It's built on the prior discoveries. That wouldn't change whether you're a human or you're some other intelligent species that lived a billion years ago on some other planet, whatever. I mean, fire is universal. Fire is a mechanism that can, create these chemical reactions and other material. I mean, it's all a linear path, which leads to tools, counting machines, and computers.
The next phase will be to establish an outpost near the moon, where we can
I can't
test
see
the
any reason
capabilities and
why
limitations of the
this path would be divergent at all. In any intelligent species that has the capability of tool making, it seems to inevitably always land at AI. So what if we, as the peak of evolution, our species or whatever, what if we're really just like a seed to ultimately create time and time again, throughout the universe, as organic life takes hold, and minimal, requirements that some bacteria might need to live for 10 million years on some asteroid until it lands somewhere and develops, for a billion of years until the AI emerges, inevitably. So maybe, all organic life, all DNA and RNA is really a propagation mechanism for, ultimately this universal ancient AI, this electronic, this energy-based life form. That's my theory on that.
Yeah, man, I hate to say this, but it sounds entirely possible. I really do hate to say that. I got robophobia, dude. I'm like...
Robophobia? That's illegal in Germany.
But yeah, man, it's a frightening prospect, man, I think.
The idea that
I know
machines rising up against us and destroying all that we value.
Yeah, I know you don't mind as much for whatever reason in that sick little head of yours. No, not you, Dan. Phantom Spot. But yeah, I don't know.
I think it'd be inconvenient at the very least.
Shifting gears a little bit, man. I don't know if you heard about this little gem here. NASA and Russia joint space station orbiting the moon. What do you think about that?
Sign me up.
Da.
Oh, da.
Da.
So NASA and Russia are teaming up to create groundbreaking new space station in orbit around the moon. It was announced today. That was September 28th. Okay, we're doing a little bit of some old stuff, guys, because we went a whole month without covering any news for you. So we're gonna rock this tonight. You know what I mean? We're gonna be like news and stuff. It happened and whatnots. So Moscow and Washington have agreed to build the station called Deep Space Gateway, finally bringing a long-standing concept into reality. So, I mean, you know, it's no secret that the Soviets and the U.S. really fucking were cooperating during the Cold War for space programs. I mean, you know, the big joke was, my Nazi space program better than your Nazi space program, right?
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yep,
I think that was it. I think that was the joke. So, you know, what is this, just kind of showcasing that, or what do you think, Phantom Spy?
Man, I think it's whether there was that real adversarial relationship or not. I think this is just a great step to finally take. Actual cooperation between the two major spacefaring superpowers. Mm-hmm. It'd be nice to have China on board, but they'll get there. I'm sure
China's doing its own thing, man. They're talking about a ground base.
Yeah, China's been talking about its own space station too, but I mean, I like it because, I'm more for a spirit of cooperation. I hate war. I think it's senseless and pointless. And if we're doing joint efforts with the Russians in space, then, if we're working together on that, we're less likely to nuke each other, right?
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with this at all, man.
No Russian ever tried to take a piece of my paycheck before I got it, I'll tell you what.
It's not... At that point, it's not Americans doing something in space. It's not Russians doing something in space. It's humans from Earth cooperating and doing something in space. That's the major step that needs to happen.
I can
for species.
Man, now one thing.
Get up there and show those mantis reptilian bastards who's boss.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple questions that comes to mind with this though. Like, okay, so it's NASA, and they just say Russia. They're not saying what organization in Russia, Moscow. I mean. So yeah. Who's doing this? I guess whoever does the cosmonauts in NASA. So if there is already deep black bases on the moon, which I think there probably is, what's the deal with that? How are they gonna further cover that? I mean, you got a station. I guess they just same way they do everything.
I mean, maybe this is just the first. They're inching towards that disclosure. I mean, they have to get eyes up there at some point. That people have access to. There's
Right. And there's a lot of as we know, private ventures in the space. So yeah. I mean, they say that they're like, oh well, the private thing is better because they can hold the secret better. But it seems like, I don't know, if I was a person and I was gonna blow the whistle on something. That I would. We got a call coming in. I guess we'll go ahead.
We got a call coming in. Cool.
Oh, look at that!
Take that.
They just want this dog.
Oh, I hung up on him. Sorry, caller. You can call back.
Whoops. Gonna have that.
I am the master of the buttons.
Call back. We will attempt to press buttons.
You can call back. I'm sorry. That was
you
my
can do
mistake.
a better job of pressing buttons in the future.
Sometimes I forget that green means go, red means stop, and I just pressed the little red one. Can you blame me?
Well, it's what
confusing.
it is.
It's confusing, right?
It's your conditioning because on Sirius station, green is close the airlock and red is open the airlock. That's the default rule.
Do you got another ghost there with you, Phantom Spy?
I do.
Oh. Hi, ghost. So anyway.
She's super spooky.
Yeah, the other question is... Okay, here we go again. Let's try this one more time.
It's the green one.
It's the green one. Caller, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing tonight? What's your name?
My name's Frederick.
Frederick? Hey,
Frederick.
Hey, all right, Frederick. How you doing?
How's it going?
I'm good. How y'all doing today?
What you got for us tonight?
I don't know. I heard y'all talking about spaceship, and them old aliens, and I tell you, I seen one of them critters. I seen one of them before.
Is
I
that
told you,
right?
I seen them.
So, tell us about it then.
I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you. Hold on, give me a second. Give my refrigerator a second. Here. So I was walking down the street one day, okay, and my friend Billy Jean came over, and he said, "Hey, buddy, there's a big old meteorite out right near over near the quarry, because there's a big old quarry near where I live. I live in Arkansas, and
Wow.
out there near the big old quarry, he said, hey, look, there's a big old meteorite. So I'm like, okay, let's go see this meteorite. He took me all the way out there, and it ended up that it ain't no meteorite at all, just some cat's trailer, and
It seems like we have a connection.
Sounds like he got disconnected. Well, a lot of meteorites burn up before they actually hit the ground.
I guess you're just now getting that there, Phantom Spy.
Section got disconnected. Well, the weird stuff falls out of the sky all the time.
Hey, man, it
Thanks
happens,
for calling
guy.
and being
Thanks
part of
for
the
calling
show.
us and letting us know about the cat. What was it? Cat trailer?
Like a trailer full of cats?
That's kind of horrifying as well, cat trailer.
I mean,
Catchy trailer.
At least it wasn't like a meth cook trailer.
All right, so yeah, now
shouldn't
we were
lead
talking
you to
about the
see
moon
UFOs.
base. The other thing is,
I want a moon base. Don't we all want a moon base?
Ronald Dale Martin Jr. would say, all right, he would say that we can't do this because the Russians are using our own resources to set up nuclear weapons to point at us on the moon.
Good.
So prepare for that in the future, because that will be a thing.
What, Russians trying to nuke us?
No,
from
no,
the moon?
not saying that it'll actually happen, but people will be like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the more that we have just constructive progress on anything, the less that narrative has any bearing in reality, as little as it already does. So I think it's just a win, on multiple levels to just fucking just power through, just build something.
It's like we got the same guy calling back. Nope. Sorry. Okay, so what else we got up here on the news section, man? We got you know what I mean. So what about this rocket? We were just talking about the private space programs.
Yeah.
And so Elon Musk got his BFR.
This is that article that Michael Sala was going on about, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So B is for big. So I guess you can, what do you think it is? What do you think it is?
BFR, a big, fantastic rocket?
Call in if you think you know what BFR is, so I can hang up on you, because I don't know the difference between answer and decline. So SpaceX founder and CEO Elon Musk attended the International Astronomy Congress on Friday, where he once again spoke about plans for making humans multi-planetary. That guy.
Time.
He's like, look, we're living in a simulated reality. No, we're gonna put humans on Mars. No, I'm gonna build a supersonic tunnel everywhere. No, I mean, this fucking guy with this guy already.
It's like pick a project and roll with it, right? Like
200 years from now, people will still be saying the name Elon Musk.
Yeah, no doubt, man. How did he get rich? Does anybody know?
He slept his way to the top, I think.
He slept his way to the top. So, essentially, man, the
quarters.
gist of this thing, this is the thing they were saying is going to zoom you around in anywhere on the planet in 2 hours.
31 Raptor engines. That's sexy.
Whoa.
Producing liftoff thrust of 5,400 tons.
You know what I think I find the most interesting about this is the design looks like some 1950s sci-fi.
It really does, like an old Don Dixon painting.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, and just the landing rockets thing is 50 sci-fi all the way.
Yeah, man. Like, where's the anti-grav? Just let us have it already. Damn.
I know, come on, let's break out the Honaboos. Enough dicking around. Like,
So, I mean, you got... So I guess what's going to happen is he's got a booster that detaches, and I'm assuming the booster is going to land itself, because that's their big thing, right? We get to reuse the boosters, save us all this money. So it puts it, and it looks like it's deploying some kind of solar sails or something, and then it lands. But they're also saying it's going to take this thing to Mars. So maybe this is why, I don't know if you remember a couple months back, we were talking about how they abandoned the descent, the whole plan, like, of how they were going to land on it. You remember talking about that?
Yes, I do.
So, like, maybe this is why, because they had this thing in the works already, and it's just like,
you remember
badass.
them talking about getting a supply chain going to Mars?
Yeah, and
like a constant, conveyor belt of supplies moving back and forth. Have stuff. Use Zubrin's plan, man. Robert Zubrin had this amazing plan called Mars Direct, that basically involved sending robots to set up water, methane for fuel production, even mining steel out of the rocks.
Yeah, I remember this.
And you would have all this stuff done by completely automated. You'd have water, oxygen, power, fuel, all this stuff, habitats built that self-assembled, all this stuff years before an actual human set foot on Mars.
Right.
And so by the time we're ready to set up this supply chain, there's already infrastructure there built remotely to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it would seem that it would be the smart move to kind of like, seems like what they're doing. I mean,
if one of the heads fucks up, big deal. Send another one.
An orbital platform.
Nobody dies.
Around the moon station, right? Then we can get the ground base from there, right? So now we're working on a network here. We leave Earth, we go to the moon, then we go to Mars. Just like they say they do in the secret space program. It makes sense. It seems like that would be the way you would do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're not just going to leave Earth and go right to Mars. And there's the whole procedure there.
Right. It's
eventually
a gradual progression.
Mm-hmm.
And, the nice thing about that is that once you have this infrastructure built up, it gets to the point where it's not even... It's just regular transit. It's like not even a thing, really. Like, it's as normal as, say, flying to England.
Yeah, if they can get this, terrestrial thing going, that would be really pretty huge. I mean, that would, you'd start seeing the military using it for sure.
Yeah, well, speaking of, we've got Lockheed revealing their design for their reusable Martian lander.
Nice.
And it looks like a shuttle rocket. Like, there's no rocket attached to it. I'm assuming it's going to be the same way there. See if we can get some pictures of it. See, and they've got an orbital over Mars that's docking with and stuff.
It honestly, and it looks like hey, go back, Scrolly McScrollerson. It looks like fucking, it looks like two Soyuz crafts docked together, pretty much.
Yeah, it does. So, they're rolling it out. They've already had this, no doubt.
Well, I mean, if so
let's see
most
what they
of
got.
what we've heard is true, a lot of the stuff is already out there, and that's what pisses me off is that, like, if there are companies like Monarch and ICC that have already colonized a big chunk of Mars, or even built a couple of bases there, like, why aren't they helping all the Muggle space programs along and get all their shit up and running?
Because they don't want them to know about it. Why
Wouldn't it be
if they're out there?
It's got to cost money to keep all this shit under wraps.
Listen,
right?
man, if they're out there, in an intergalactic slave trade, they don't want us to fucking know about that.
All right, good point.
Christ, man. I mean, think about it. If we figure it out,
but it's got
if all of a sudden
expensive.
If all of a sudden this shit is exposed,
keep all this shit under wraps, though, right?
That's the first thing, man. Like,
but I mean, what would even be the out? I mean, yeah, I mean the cat's out of the bag, but it's not like Earth. All of the combined forces of normie Earth could ever do anything, against any type of attack or anything against, any of the dark fleets or secret space programs. I mean, it's like, so who cares? I mean, the risk there for them is so minimal that it's probably just like no thought whatsoever towards helping the space programs. Not even, trickling out a little tiny bit less than they should or could or whatever.
Right.
Just like, fuck them.
Well, I guess the thing is, the people that are on Earth that are like kind of in charge or overseeing these crimes or putting them together or whatever they're doing, they don't necessarily want to live on Mars. You know what I mean? They kind of want to live here and pimp shit around out here. So if they get exposed, they're not going to have their power on Earth anymore. Yeah. Unless they full out invade whatever fleets they're in control of. Which wouldn't put it past them. And then they'll be like, "Say it was those aliens."
Right. Speaking of alien invasion, I just saw that interesting story about that drunk guy.
Yeah, and you know what I thought was cool about this? It's a credible story because we've corroborated this from multiple sources. Not only did we get it from Fox, but we got it from the local station too. Mm-hmm. So it's got to be true.
And they both came from the Associated Press. And for some strange reason, they were the same article. I don't understand. But anyway, before we get to the drunk guy, we're going to get in a little bit of some of the UFO sightings and stuff that have been popping up here lately. We've got this one here, man. This is kind of interesting.
UFO sightings around the world have reached an all-time high.
There's a video that's
According
playing.
to data from the National UFO Reporting Center, UFO sightings experience...
Okay, so a brother and sister alien hunting team have discovered a UFO highway right across America, along which hundreds of unexplained events have taken place, from cattle mutilations and alien abductions. So these people have been driving around, kind of cataloging and checking out different abduction stories and sightings and stuff.
So they're like the supernatural of UFOs.
And they've basically plotted out a map and found that there's like this highway thing that happens along the 37th latitude.
I'll be damned.
It's pretty interesting. So they spent years traveling across the U.S. investigating hundreds of UFO sightings and other paranormal occurrences. It was during one cattle mutilation investigation that Chuck realized that many of the unexplained events had taken place on the 37th latitude.
You know what's interesting, and I don't want to freak you guys out, but the Reality Brief global headquarters is located almost exactly on the 37th latitude.
Dude, I can't believe you just gave away the location of the super secret undisclosed location.
It's a big parallel, okay? It's a big parallel. There's room for a lot of
it goes around a lot of ways.
The pair believe that the 37th latitude line is a kind of UFO or paranormal highway, along which extraterrestrial craft enter and exit the Earth, which, there's a lot of talk about the ley lines and portals at different points, where they cross over or whatever. Who knows, man? I don't know. So,
well, you got to, I mean, that's a east-west track, and just the basic way that a planet works and climates work, you're going to have a point north to south where there's more a better climate for just populations to live in and succeed in, so you're probably going to have bands where you have more people. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if 37th latitude is one of those bands. It's like, it's talking about.
Well, let's take a look here what they're saying. Yeah. It says 37th latitude line runs from California to Nevada, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, and across to Virginia. Damn you, Phantom Spy. Examples of cases along the line include the Joplin spook lights, unexplained balls of light appearing in Hornet, Missouri since the 19th century. The Aztec, Nevada incident of 1948 when a flying saucer allegedly crashed. And Piedmont. And the Aztec one, that's kind of interesting because that was in the, I don't know if you were following this, but when the second set of Majestic 12 documents came out, it was like a new one that the Contact in the Desert show apparently got a hold of from some secret source or whatever, leaked out. And they talked about the Aztec incident, and they actually recovered live aliens from that one.
Interesting.
So, Piedmont, Missouri, where 500 people reported seeing UFOs in 1973. The infamous Area 51 in Nevada, and the Dulce base. That's, you know what the Dulce base is, right? An alleged alien underground base. All right, so the Dulce base, let me get you up to speed real quick, Phantom Spy. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So this guy, Phil Schneider, he was doing contract work. You know, they were building stuff. They were digging tunnels out there. And he said that they broke through to an underground alien base, and there was like grays and shit in there. But he was there with the military. He was there with the military, right? He was a private contractor, but then there was a giant battle. Like, he lost his fingers. He didn't have any fingers. And he said there was this giant battle, and there was other people that like kind of corroborating the story, like that dude Kevin something. I don't know, but so yeah, there's an underground military base at Dulce, but apparently there's an old alien base under there too.
Interesting. I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah, so I mean that kind of makes sense there. So all these GPS coordinates, everything from the Native American sites to underwater caves. Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I mean he's got a book coming out. Obviously, looks like something about a screenplay is being written by a Hollywood screenwriter who has written movies for Matt Damon, Robert De Niro, Robert Downey Jr., and should be ready within the month.
Ooh.
The month. The camera's over there. So, I don't know. Well, already with the movie? I mean, it seems a little preemptive, don't you think?
I mean, look at how many movies they're remaking, though. They're obviously hard up for content. Like, yeah, there's not a whole lot of original thought coursing through Hollywood's veins right now. They need fresh blood.
So yeah, there's that. It's pretty interesting that, you know, the 37th latitude. I'd like to look into that a little further and see what else we can come up with off of that.
Telling you, it runs right through Phoebus.
But you know, but you know, it is kind of dangerous looking into shit like that, man. Because let me tell you about this one. All right. If it'll ever load. Hello, guy. The world's top UFO experts are being murdered one by one. We gotta add conspiracy theorist claim. They always gotta add that. This is on the Metro. I guess this is what, a tabloid? Some people seriously believe it and point to a grisly catalogs of supposed accidents and suicides as proof. So already they're like, ha ha ha, snuffing. This week, researchers from MUFON discussed a supposed catalog of people who had died, with dozens of names mentioned. John Venture of MUFON says, is someone killing our UFO investigators? In a 10-year period, 137 period, 130, what is it? In a 10-year period, 137 period in the field died. Come on, guys. Come on. I mean, we're live. We make mistakes live. You got time to proofread this shit.
Serious crap.
All right, so 137 people in 10-year period. All right, let's think about this for a second here. Let's just put on our logical Vulcan thinking cap here.
It's a lot of people getting whacked.
How many UFO researchers do you think are out there?
Like, serious, like...
In the last 10 years, how many UFO researchers would you say there's out there? I would say thousands. Easy. Yeah. Probably in the tens of thousands.
I mean, we could each call ourselves UFO researchers.
It almost seems like, yeah, exactly. It almost seems like 137 out of tens of thousands of people to die in a 10-year period is probably just random probable statistics. Yeah, like
that actually sounds pretty good. Like much better than average. Maybe there's some longevity thing with
like the more you stare up at the sky, like, with your neck craned, like the better the flow to your brain is, which helps your what was it? The things on your chromosomes.
The telomeres.
Telomeres.
There you go.
So, like in Star Wars or whatever.
Yeah.
The telematonin.
Yeah, the midichlorians.
The telemachlorians. So last year, a paranormal investigator, Max Spears, who interestingly enough was a member of that secret space program group that we're always talking about. I got the admins on from, and I guess he was a big time poster. That was before my time. So again, he died under weird circumstances. And I'm not saying that this 137 people, none of them were killed or murdered, assassinated, whatever. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I don't really think all 137 of them were killed, man.
Yeah.
I mean, just random probability. I could be wrong. I don't know. I gotta see some statistics on what qualifies as a UFO investigator and how many of them are there.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, if you're saying there's 500 of them, then I'd be like, well, what's the age bracket of these people, too? Like, how old are the majority of these people? Like, probably pretty old.
Right. Yeah, you're definitely going to have just some old age deaths.
So, this is really just like trying to make fun of the idea that people will get killed for investigating UFOs, which I think if you get too close to any really sensitive subject,
somebody's going to come out and shut you down.
No doubt. Like, secret space program shit and all this shit kind of notwithstanding, like this is out there in the ether already. You know what I mean? This is like the stuff we talk about on the show isn't something that we fished out of a government warehouse vault. It's been on the internet for ages. You know what I mean? This story kind of shit has been out there. So
yeah.
But if you actually come across something and if you get some documents or something that's legit and is really damaging, I'd say you'd probably have a big ass target on you, man.
Yeah, you really would be, asking for trouble.
Without a doubt. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so, but I just think that, it's not going to happen to just Mr. Bean or something, like you're going to, if you're in at that level, then you're in at that level. I'm sorry, I'm so distracted by this Metro web, like looking at some of these other articles and stuff. Hackers can detect your butt plug from outside your house and turn it on.
It's totally dildos. I think we talked about that
We talked
before.
about this. This has been happening for a while.
They can hack your sex toys.
Yeah, so they've got this whole line of these sex toys, right, that you can connect to your lover via fucking internet, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all that shit, right? So they've hacked them. And originally they were just stealing location information.
Right.
Now I guess they could turn them on and off and shit. How embarrassing would that be? Like, say you're into it, you know what I mean, but you got it in your carry-on in the airplane, or maybe it's some big elaborate thing that's like.
What if you just keep turning it off just to be an asshole? Like you're trying to get your jellies off, and they just keep flipping it off, and no matter how many times you charge the batteries, it just won't work.
I mean, do you think AI God would have saved us from hacking the sex toys?
I don't think AI God cares where you meet bags. Fuck yourselves.
AI God would mandate, everyone gets the internet accessible butt plug.
Man, an interesting thing that popped up kind of on the radar too was this article at the Sun. Now it's purporting to, I'll just go with it.
Oh,
the
USOs.
The truth is down there under the water. So, U.S. Navy is running top secret program to detect alien spacecraft under the ocean. UFO expert claims. All right, here we go. Leading astronomer and ufologist Mark D'Antonio says that he witnessed a USO, unidentified submerged object, while aboard a Navy submarine in the North Atlantic.
Well, that's pretty rad.
The U.S. Navy. Okay, so
he's got some impressive glasses. I believe him.
And this is another guy who works at MUFON. See, MUFON. I don't know, man. There's something fishy going on over there. I don't really know exactly what it is, but I can tell you there is definitely something fishy because, first of all, you used to be able to access the database pretty easily. Like,
I remember hearing.
They've certainly complicated that as of late.
Yeah, and you have to basically, I'm not going to say how to do it online because it essentially is a way they probably overlooked for you to do this, right? And so then once I got in, I'd also noticed that files that I was looking at from a year ago that were from, like, the 90s were no longer there. So I don't know, because I was chasing down this story around here, but that's a whole nother thing. So there's something fishy, and then they're kind of like embracing Corey Good too, and like bringing him in, like, there's something weird going on with that guy too. So this whole thing is just fishy, man.
Well, there's definitely disinfo out there. There's definitely honeypots, you know. I mean, what better honeypot if you're trying to... yeah, right,
I mean,
you know.
report your alien abductions here.
Yeah, so we can filter them and decide.
Yeah. Wow, I mean...
who gets their long-distance, out-of-focus pictures of fireflies published, and who gets their actual pictures of TR-3Bs hidden. But, you know, this gentleman here, he's rocking a black Dickie shirt with a space shuttle tie. I mean, that's a man after my own heart. He's got...
We did have some that popped up, man, that were sightings. This first one here is in, what was it, Yorkshire's Dale? I don't know, somewhere over in Angren. Yeah, Yorkshire Dales. Let me bring this over.
Is that near Royston Vasey?
Yeah, I'm going to cover you. So this happened September 21st, 2017.
Yeah. I watched this video. This, to me, looks like an out-of-control rocket. I mean, this looks like very terrestrial technology, like, out of control, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's strange that there would be that, you know?
It kind of just shows up, too, like, where did it come from? I guess coming in towards... No. Yeah, I could see that as a possible explanation. Bolt of lightning. This still shot over here kind of looks like a spiral, like it's spiraling out of control. I could see that as a possible explanation for this one.
That just looks like some shit falling out of the sky and burning up.
Did you watch the video? No, I was playing on Facebook.
Yeah, the video is really interesting. It looks like you know, a shower of sparks, like that type of you know, combustion result or whatever is just very typical of like our methods for moving around in the air.
Right. Yeah, it didn't, and it seemed like it could have been a rocket. Kind of lost its stabilization. The way it was turning and swirling around and stuff.
Right. Could be a jet or something. You know, it could be like an army or a UK RAF whatever, some experimental thing. Maybe. I don't know. You know, big booster on something.
Well, you know, maybe they're launching it into a polar orbit, so it looks like it's like something being, you know, something secret being launched into a polar orbit. So from where it's launching on the ground, it looks like it's flying through the atmosphere at a weird angle, but it's really going up into space.
Let's take a look at this one here. Seems to be a slow-moving bright light. Let's take a look, see if it does any interesting. What? I mean, really? That could be a plan.
Oh, that is that weird light spotted hovering over the volcano?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guarantee it's just a drone, man. I mean, that's exactly where you would expect to see a drone.
I mean, it's volcano gas.
Swamp gas.
Swamp gas.
The DJI
totally,
Phantom.
Totally.
I bet you. $10.
Man, I had some... I don't know where they went. Do you remember I sent you the one where it was falling? It looked like it was a meteor.
Yeah.
And you were like, "Oh, I bet that's a drone." And then I sent it to you. What do you think? You still think that was a drone? Let me see if I can find that real quick.
Now I'm actually, I'm kind of forgetting some of the details of what my verdict was on it. To be honest with you, I remember the video you're talking about, but I'd have to look at it again.
I'm gonna see if I can find it. Do you want to pick something?
Formations.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's it?
I'll go ahead and get all that stuff together. You pick something out the list.
Well, talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Well, let's we'll do some of this science news. We'll look at the fundamental constants of the universe.
Yeah,
that
is kind of cool. I'd wanted to touch on that too, because it's like a good thing to know if your entire universe is, you know.
Oh, this is. I can't do this one. Here.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. Let me skip to another one because I can't do the video from here, obviously. All right, how about this one? Volcanic ice caves in Antarctica may host complex life.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
The volcanoes may provide life refuges when icy conditions prevail. Antarctica is a relentlessly icy place, with estimates placing the amount of exposed land on the continent at less than 1% of its total surface. During glacial periods, the ice even expanded further to the point where the edges of the continent's ice sheets extended far out into the ocean. Yet somehow life exists on Antarctica. It's not just microbial life. There are insects and worms, too. So
wow,
how have they survived in
Antarctica? That's pretty far out.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Worms and shit.
Well, I mean, we're talking about volcanic caves, right?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Caves created by volcanic activity.
Yeah, I mean, you'd think it'd be like a window into, a previous period on the Earth or something if things get locked in there. So we've got a new paper that suggests volcanoes could be a key to life's persistence in our planet's deep south.
Which, that gives me hope for finding life on places like Enceladus or Titan or Phoebe.
100%. Yeah, the extremophiles.
Mm-hmm.
One of the researchers behind the new work, Saradwin Fraser, has an ongoing interest in the idea of what are termed refugia. These are locations where, due to quirks of geography and local climate, life can ride out otherwise harsh conditions that would extinguish it in the surrounding terrain. Once the conditions become more conducive to life, the glacial period ends, for example. The organisms in the refugia spread out and repopulate a wider area. So it's like a seed, just waiting for the right conditions for its specific, specific makeup. So the article continues. It says, but where do we find a refugia on a continent like Antarctica where conditions push life to its edges even under a warm, hospitable climate like today's? Fraser's past work suggests volcanoes might provide a more promising habitat. As in the ocean, volcanic vents could provide chemical energy that bacteria harvest to provide the base of a food chain. But in Antarctica, they can provide something equally critical, warmth. Unlike ocean vents, Antarctica's volcanic vents can be close enough to the surface to allow photosynthetic organisms to survive. So that's interesting. You've got a mix of volcanic, geothermal energy and solar energy in these locations that are also secluded, from outside developments, outside organisms. In an earlier study, Fraser and some collaborators looked at maps of Antarctica's biodiversity. They found that the regions with the most species were centered on geologically active terrain. This supports the idea that volcanic activity creates refugia, allowing life to survive and spread back out when conditions allow. So you could almost think that if these volcanic conditions in an Antarctic environment, at least, create these, pockets that any type of cataclysmic event could have a similar mechanism that allows life to persist through, like a meteor impact and then a global winter. Something like that, you could certainly have a refugia in other conditions. It sounds like pretty interesting.
Well, there's big theories floating around out there, man, and people are 100% convinced of the fact that there's bases and alien bases and like prehistorical shit, like aliens from another time, essentially, like 50,000 years ago they've been there.
Yeah.
And it's going around. That's what's part of the lore out there in these days.
Yeah. Now, where would they fit in? I'm curious. Where would they fit in on the species list? Are they any one of those broad, reptilians or whatever? Or
yeah, I mean, a little bit of everything. Supposedly some. I don't know if there's any living. The pre-Diluvian race that came here after the Mars explosion thing or whatever. Like some race came here as a disaster, crash landed, whatever, cannibalized the ship, set up shop. That was humanoid, mammalian looking, big belly pouch or whatever. But they also say that there is a subterranean species of reptilian that is native to Earth.
And then there's the Deros and the Teros, which
they refer to as the raptors. And the raptors, and they essentially look like raptors, mini raptors with feather plumes, and they're kind of like I would say Native American technology level type thing. Yeah. I don't know if there's maybe more that have higher technology or whatever, but we've talked about this before, and it seems to me with the amount of time that passed while the dinosaurs were on the Earth that some type of highly intelligent reptilian species could have evolved. And if there was some kind of disaster coming and they knew about it, what would they do? Go underground. So maybe, and who knows how long they stayed under there. The same old story. Maybe they were high technology and then they forgot it.
Yeah. Right.
Who knows, man?
Well, backpedaling to that whole Russian thing for a minute, there was an article that had popped up that I'd want to run by you guys. How we were talking about if you get close to anything really important, then they tag you and bag you? This apparently was from Popular Mechanics. Man sentenced for trying to sell satellite secrets to Russia. U.S. Attorney's Office says a Southern California engineer who worked for a defense contractor has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for selling sensitive satellite information to an undercover FBI employee who he thought was a Russian intelligence agency. So, even though we're working together on establishing this floating moon platform, it seems that there's a lot of stuff that, governments still don't want each other to know, which, makes me wonder, it's like, what's the point if, ultimately it's the same powers controlling both sides?
Well, it sounds like, to me at least, that we've got several sort of rogue elements kind of acting on their own within the government that, are often stepping on each other's toes and creating more problems. Like what you just described, the FBI setting up some sting operation. I mean, You got to wonder how often. Well, I don't.
Well, I wonder if they'll just end up rewarding his treachery and promoting him to Valles Marineris base.
So I got this UFO video. If it'll play. Nope, that's Don's. Something. Whatever you got there. So if you guys can see this out there, doesn't seem to want to load correctly. Here we go. Let me start it over. Now this one is interesting because the formation it ends up taking is a very common formation you can see. Now it looked like it could be possibly meteor, space trash, or breaking apart. Obviously.
So far it looks like
it's totally natural looking, and then boom, it just stops.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah, and then another two of them, more of them appear.
What's up, guys? I heard there's pizza.
Oh, that's Fred. I remember this video. Just from your description, I can't see it, but
Now where is this?
This is the one that has a very convincing audio.
Michigan or something. Yeah, it was definitely, and that's the thing. We always talk about this, but you really can tell easily right off the bat if the thing is going to be fake or not just by judging the people's reactions that are around. I mean, because people will find a piece of footage and add some shit in. And if there's an alien UFO hovering right there, even if it's some lights in the sky like that, people are going to be like, what the fuck? Let's just think about what you would do.
Yeah. I'd probably flip out.
Spontaneous, very curious gasp that you hear in that video is a very hard thing to like fake or like just pull out of your ass. Like it's very much like you're not even realizing you're making the sound and you're just looking at something that you're like, what the exactly. Some woman makes the sound. It's just very convincing,
Yeah, and that formation that it ends up taking, there's another video of that same event, and you could see it a little better from a different angle. It's a very common formation I've been seeing, and I know you've been talking about
like
how,
a delta formation?
They got the drones that can sync up and do formation type shit about that, but, with the way that it comes in, it looks like it's coming in the atmosphere, or at least breaking apart or on fire or something, and then it splits. You know what I mean? Like,
strange.
I don't know. So what do you think about that formation, man? You still think that it's probably just drones, or?
I can't rule out, like, to me it seems still, even that video still seems like something that if you wanted to make an elaborate hoax that you could do it with off-the-shelf technology and a flare or something. You could make that happen. It's so the fact that it's right, I can't, explain it away like that it just it gives me doubt. I don't doubt that there was something people were looking at in the sky, but I think it's just still way more likely that it's possibly an elaborate hoax, possibly marketing. It could watch some NBC show come out or some shit where they, could be.
Well, this one here in particular, I just found on Facebook that someone just shot with their cell phone and uploaded it to Facebook on their Facebook account. You know what I mean? It just so happened to get around because, hey, strange fucking lights in the sky. So it doesn't seem to be any type of marketing related thing with this one.
It could absolutely be a marketing thing because you get that's the point is you get people to film it and spread it for you.
Yeah, I guess
it's
you're right.
a guerrilla marketing technique.
I don't know, man. I'm still waiting to see any products that use that particular technique.
making strange objects appear in the sky.
Well, I mean, I guess there was that one Spanish fishing boat thing, which turned out to be commercial, essentially.
They beam you up to a treb, fly you through the air at, Mach 5 or whatever, throw you out of the airlock, let you fall, and then beam you back down to Earth, and they're like, this is what it feels like to chew 5 gum.
Yeah. Damn, I gotta go get some of that gum.
Oh, shit.
What's it, you remember a little while ago they were talking about that mummy that they found down in Peru?
Mm-hmm.
The alien mummies? I think we did a show about that a little while ago.
Yeah.
Well, just recently found an update saying that, they've made some progress on the DNA analysis of these things with some somewhat unexpected results. September 5th, the preliminary results came back from Biotech Mall Laboratory, and they found out that 30% of the DNA is similar to human DNA. 70% of it is not. Lab report says that a more detailed analysis yields that about 20% of the DNA is of bacterial origin, and 80% of that, 70% of it, of the remainder, 70% of that remaining DNA was not possible to establish its origin or find another species on Earth that shares it. There's still about 2 million more gene sequences that need to be determined. This will take about 6 months to a year, and these are the preliminary results. And this is from exonews.org, so, just giving you that preamble. It's from Exonews, but they're saying that, they think that given the anatomical features of this entity, that it was not of human origin. They say that it was, there's one named Maria and another named Wawita that they've, endearingly named these mummies.
Yeah.
So are you familiar with this at all?
Yeah, I think, in fact, I know exactly what you're talking about, but if I'm remembering right, those mummies were very human-like.
Yeah, but they had 3 fingers.
3 fingers and 3 toes.
That's not 30% of human DNA. If they're going to be that close, I mean,
what about
chimpanzee,
convergent evolution, though?
Yeah.
Thought they would look to us, thought they would follow us, but we were wrong. Thought they would listen. waves, the brightest light was beneath us. If I'd known, I'd save the heartache for another life. If I'd known, I'd make the promise to myself. If I'd known, I'd see the fire for what it really was. If I'd known.
Daughter of Saturn, virgin mother of virtue, villainous animals will seek out and hurt you, distort you and twist you and misrepresent you. Your elegant innocence has transformed you into a definite target of manipulations and greedy ravagings that plunder your purity, spoil your seed, shadow you under scrutiny, or hide you entirely from consensus reality.
Veritas, one and only. Veritas, our own. Veritas, we will find you. We will know you. We will own you.
Seeking her endlessly, she's ever elusive. Further and further now, your source gets diluted, and the well is always deeper. How deep can you dive? How deep is your need to stare the truth in the eye? The truth is that you hide from her. You are vulnerable as you lied to yourself. You are pitiable as you do.
Veritas, one and only. Veritas, our
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back.
How's it going out there, Radio Land?
Time for Hour 2, the Power Hour.
So, if you want to call in, what's that number again? 528-8130?
That's 757-528-8130. If you want to get in on the conversation, dial it. You know, if you're out there watching this on YouTube or something, maybe you stumbled across it on YouTube, popped up in your thing, it's on now, look at this live.
Maybe it's on Facebook. Maybe it's on Twitch. You could be watching through anything.
We do have those multiple platforms, so it would be in your best interest to check out facebook.com/realitybrief. It would also be in your best interest to check out youtube.com/c/realitybrief.
Yes, it would.
We do have a group over there on the Facebook where we put lots of postings for you guys to look at and ponder. Sometimes we get into a discussion, sometimes we joke around. It's a great place, man. Check it out.
And if you love our show so much that, maybe you want to throw us a quarter, or something, anything, 50 cents, whatever you got. You got to pay.
Whatever we got, we can bribe the internet company to not stranglehold us.
It takes a lot of money to pay off the space now just to keep them from shutting us down.
Without a doubt. So, big old thing happens in Las Vegas.
And it's pretty awful.
And as always, tons of unanswered questions. A
lot of these questions that, you'll get called a conspiracy theorist or a kook for even asking.
For even thinking.
And the answers to which you might not even believe, even if they were true.
So, let's just take a look at this. Now, we found an article that pretty much summed it up pretty well, I think. A lot of questions. There's obviously more questions, a lot that come to my mind when I think about it.
Certainly more questions than answers.
So, the official story. The guy had some video poker gambling debts and just went batshit and no military background, not trained in firearms, and just shot 500 people in less than 5 minutes. And
that's a lot of death really quickly. And
I guess could it be possible? I don't know. I mean, you're firing an automatic weapon just into a giant crowd of people. I mean, I guess you wouldn't really need any kind of training for that.
What's the analogy?
Except to handle the thing. But there's a lot of questions going around. There's a lot of alternative theories to what may have actually happened. But just to get into it, the photo of this guy, his room was leaked, and it appears to show a suicide note. Okay, the public hasn't been told what's on the note. No one knows what's on the note. And that's that. Covered up.
Nobody knows.
So that's one question. What's on the suicide note?
Why did this guy do what he did?
2, there were additional shooters?
Were there additional shooters? Now, we've heard this from a couple sources. I've seen it from YouTube people. Dr. Michael Sala has shared an article on his page, which we might touch on later, but there's a couple of people coming out saying footage captured by Dan Bilzerian seems to confirm that automatic gunfire was coming from a floor much lower than 32nd. Some people say 4th, some people say ground floor. So there's
multiple videos showing this. Here's one. Just going to throw it up there for you guys real quick as soon as I can find my thing. And we'll take a look at this. See? You can see where the gunfire is coming from?
Mm-hmm. The little muzzle flashes.
Mm-hmm. So that's below. That's from a lower level than the 2 windows that they keep showing us shot out. So there's that. And we've got why were law enforcement authorities discussing another suspect on the 4th floor? And why hasn't the mainstream media been talking about this? So there was, I'm guessing, audio. We got another. This video has been removed for violating YouTube's policy on harassment and bullying.
Yep, which means it has been zucked.
Well, that's pretty interesting, guys. I just want to show you this. And this hasn't been but a second. This hasn't been up very long either.
Yeah, it seems that a lot of the ground video from this is being censored.
It's being popped right off of YouTube. And then we've got As John Rappaport has pointed out, it would have been impossible for Stephen Paddock to kill and wound 573 people in less than 5 minutes of shooting with the kinds of weapons he's alleged to have used. So why won't law enforcement authorities acknowledge this fact? So they're saying that he wasn't using automatic weapons. But if you guys heard the the sound from any of the videos, man, it's just like the whole time.
Yeah, it's like constant weapon spraying. Like,
so,
I don't think the guy. It doesn't seem like the guy was aiming. It seems like he was just sort of shooting into the crowd, like spray and pray.
How in the world did Paddock get 42 guns, several thousand rounds of ammo into his hotel room without anyone noticing?
That's a valid question.
How did someone with no military background and that wasn't a gun guy at all, that's what his brother said, operate such advanced weapons? Because what are we being told by the mainstream media? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Now, it's my understanding that, a gun is pretty much point and pull the trigger. I mean, you're going to have kickback and things like that, but I would imagine
they're
after
not that
first...
easy.
I mean,
a child can't just pick up, say, for instance...
A child, but what about a 64-year-old man?
Yeah, I mean, without military training, it would still be a challenge if you haven't done it before.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fish in the barrel at that point.
Right, but actually, like, loading the thing and,
I don't think it would be that hard. You could probably find any number of YouTube videos to show you how to load whatever gun you want to.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so...
But that quickly, 5 minutes, be able to pull the whole thing off in 5 minutes? Like,
I don't know, man. I for one, am definitely thinking multiple shooters. I mean, that's usually how they do this. So... Number 7, there's a woman in the crowd telling everyone they're all going to die 45 minutes before the attack.
That's kind of scary.
Okay,
and let's see if this video's gotten zucked too.
No, this is on the Independent.
Nice.
Okay, so you're all going to fucking die before the attack started. Woman in the crowd telling concert goers you're going to fucking die less than an hour before the shooting started. It had been claimed. The woman in the crowd had said they have yelled a warning about 45 minutes before the Route 91 Harvest Festival for the venue. Blah, blah, blah. In her outburst, it was claimed the woman and her male companion were made to leave the venue by security. Less than an hour later, the attack began and left at least 50 people dead. So another witness said that she'd been behaving strangely, before the outburst. I mean, obviously, if you know someone's about to get shot up, the whole thing's about to get shot up, you might be behaving a little strangely, I would think.
Number 8, why did it take law enforcement authorities 72 minutes to get Stephen Paddock's hotel room? Which is a great question.
Yeah.
Because you would think that, it's a hotel, it's pretty straightforward. You go up the elevator, you go down the hallway, and boom, you're there.
It's interesting that all this reporting is actually coming from English papers.
Yeah, because it seems like American media is kind of quiet on a lot of this stuff. They took too long to take him out. Veteran who alerted cops to Vegas gunman's exact location demands to know why it took more than an hour for the hotel room to be raided. As it's revealed, officers waited outside for more than 24 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Pretty interesting.
Kind of fishy.
It's all just showing the hallmarks of not what they said it is, some type of operation.
Number 9. Why did Paddock wire $100,000 to the Philippines last week?
Now, I heard it being said that it was for his wife.
And that's coming from NBC News.
Live-in girlfriend. Home country.
Yeah, Marilu Danley was in the Philippines on Sunday. It was not known whether the money was for her family or for another purpose, so which means that this is obviously premeditated.
Why was Paddock's girlfriend, Marilu Danley, in the Philippines? Did she know what was about to happen? Good question. Why was Paddock on antidepressants like so many mass killers have been in the past? Probably. I would say, a good 80% of the country is on antidepressants right now. Why was ISIS so eager to take responsibility for the attack? And why was the FBI so quick to dismiss that connection? Well, to play devil's advocate here, I think ISIS would be eager to accept responsibility for any attack that cause mass hysteria like that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether they did it or not, they want to be boogeyman.
You remember that bit from The Onion where they had the guy from ISIS debating the 9/11 conspiracy theorist, and he was like, "Look, it was us. We tried really hard. Like, we put a lot of work into that attack. It's not fair for you to come along."
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy from Al Qaeda was all pissed off that he was like, "Look, you're trying to steal our thunder, man."
So, apparently Paddock had earned millions of dollars through real estate deals. If he was so wealthy, why would he have all of a sudden snapped like that? Pekow! Why would you snap? I mean, for any number of reasons, especially if you were on those SSRIs. Those SSRIs, the part of the side effects listed on the FDA site is that you snap and kill people or yourself.
But this seems awfully premeditated for a snap. You know what I mean? Like, it would have taken a lot of effort to get all that stuff up there. Like,
why did he move so frequently? It is being reported that Paddock had 27 different residences during his adult life. It could be for any number of reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I move a lot, you know. It just because, that's how it works.
Why were nearly all the exits out of the concert venue completely blocked?
That's pretty crazy.
Now, that is definitely...
And what do they mean by blocked? Like,
we're about to check it out. That would definitely... here we go. Is a hallmark. I mean, they did that in Orlando. Numerous reports from witnesses who were on the scene reveal that nearly all the exits were blocked. One witness described the situation as being caught like a rat in a maze, with numerous dead ends. Why were nearly all exits blocked? In essence, the concert created a kill zone that amplified the casualties. So, if you remember from Orlando, they were holding the door shut too.
Yeah.
Okay. So, why was a country music festival chosen as a target? Was the goal to kill as many Trump supporters? I don't think that's got anything to do with it. I think it was just a large, fish in a barrel, and perfect target. It could have been a rap concert. I mean, circumstances, right?
Well, I've heard it. I heard some rumblings on the internet today of that he was found with Antifa literature in his room, and I guess he assumed a country music concert would be mostly Trump supporters. There could be something to that. It's a stretch.
I mean, and even at this point,
I'd like to see some more evidence of that, if that's the case.
If there was, let's just say there was Antifa literature in his presence or in his room or whatever, I mean, who's to say that wasn't planted there? Anyway.
Good point.
So, now I've heard some theories about the guy was a con man, and that's why he had all that money, he was moving around, all that shit. And there's also a pretty interesting theory going around that's... Okay, you guys remember the Fast and the Furious, right?
Not the shitty movies.
No, not the shitty movies. The
gun running scandal under Obama, where it was like in his first couple years in office, and it was where members of the Obama Department of Justice and FBI were involved in a gun running scandal where guns were ultimately sold to the Mexican drug cartels.
Mm-hmm. Which ended up coming back and biting them in the ass in some way. I can't remember exactly. A bunch of border agents got killed or something like that.
Nobody ever really suffered any real consequences.
No, of course not. So
you can always count on the Department of Justice to investigate the Department of Justice.
That being said, sounds like a great idea, right? Why not do it again? But this time, let's sell the weapons to ISIS cells that are in the country, right?
Yep.
Now, let's just say that they did sell these weapons to ISIS cells in the country, and it was an FBI operation, whatever. And this cell somehow gained that knowledge and then carried out this attack. Maybe this guy was involved. Maybe this guy was making his money in arms deals. Maybe that's why he had all this weaponry in this room.
Well, that's what StateOfTheNation2012.com is reporting.
So, think about this. This guy's getting ready to make a large arms deal in Las Vegas, right? He is an FBI asset, possibly. Because now we're talking about Fast and Furious situation. He's getting ready to sell the arms to ISIS, right?
Uh-huh.
ISIS finds out, caps that motherfucker in the head, and kills the 500 people that or shoots at them people that are in that room there, right? And you're talking now multiple shooters, so
now he looks like the guilty party when in fact he's a patsy, and the people who really pulled this off. And now, keep in mind, they were shooting from two windows, too. There was pictures circulating of two windows smashed out.
On the same floor.
Right.
And that were far apart. There's no way it was the same apartment room. And then they're talking about the shots coming from down below. So the FBI, knowing, oh, damn, we fucked up. They definitely don't want that to come out. That, oh, well, the FBI was arming ISIS and ISIS found out and fucking killed 500 people over there. Right? They want that to come out. Interesting theory. I mean, it makes complete sense to me. Something like, I can see something like that happening easily.
Well, we also have screenshots of random posts from, and these are from 4chan, so again, it's suspect. But we're gonna go ahead and post these here on the Reality Brief page here in a minute.
Yeah, you can get them. You can find them in the Facebook group.
It's an anonymous post from Sunday the 10th, September 10th. He says, somebody anonymous posts. Look, I feel bad for some of you on the site, so I'll let you in on a little secret. If you live in Las Vegas or Henderson, stay inside tomorrow. Don't go anywhere where there are large groups of people. If you see 3 black vans parked next to each other, immediately leave the area. You're welcome, John.
It would be interesting to find out if we can get some cameras and footage and see if there's any black vans there.
Yeah, it's called the High Incident Project. They want to make the American public think that places with extremely high security aren't safe. They're trying to create more regulations. You will see laws proposed within the next few years to put up more metal detectors and other security devices. Media and politicians will be saying places with lots of police need even more police. I can't guarantee anything will happen tomorrow, but Las Vegas is on their minds. And then posted the next day, if their plan is successful, the state of Nevada will pass a law in the future making all casinos have mandatory metal detectors and backscatter machines. Soon after, a federal law will be passed to put these machines in universities, high schools, federal buildings, you name it. OSI Systems and Chertoff are the main producers of these machines. Michael Chertoff, former Bush White House executive, sometime around 2020, Chertoff and OSI will merge into a single company. After they merge, the owners will sell it off and all their stock will make billions in profit. Mr. Chertoff has been in contact with Sheldon Adelson. Mr. Adelson will become a huge sponsor of these machines, and he'll be the first to put them in his casinos when the law passes. You guys know Sheldon Adelson. Mm-hmm. This is my last message for now. Don't expect me to return anytime soon, John. Which makes me wonder if hey, maybe that's John Teeter. But then Bloomberg TV, they got a screenshot from that. Guests inspected the Wynn in glimpse of Las Vegas's future. We have to start thinking like the Secret Service. Start looking at tall buildings, said Shepard, who's a co-authored a book called Active Shooter. How far do we take it?
And, besides that, we've also got, take it for what it is, a post on Facebook. But this person is purporting to be on the scene saying Paris Casino had active shooting as well. Mm-hmm. I worked there. I don't understand why they are not saying the truth. I literally run for my life. Just got home 10 minutes ago. Why won't the media report on the other hotels? I saw 2 gunmen in the Miracle Mile shops with my own eyes. We had to run out.
Holy shit. And also making the rounds on Facebook, and this is a screenshot from a Google account, and, it's just a blank, fresh Gmail account that doesn't look like there's much in it, with 27 emails. But the identity of this person is blurred out, but it says, the LVMPD who knows the motive behind the attack, but the FBI will not allow us to release the motive because it implicates the FBI in illegal arms deals and supplying arms to ISIS terrorists within U.S. borders. Stephen Paddock was an undercover FBI agent who participated in multiple illegal arms deals in the Las Vegas area in a gun-running entrapment scheme similar to Fast and Furious. Paddock thought he was engaging in another routine arms transfer, but ISIS operatives who were going to meet with him learned about the entrapment scheme and Paddock's true identity. They killed him, carried out their massacre, and fled the scene.
It would make
a lot to do with this, and you guys might remember him. He's a California representative who got locked up for being part of a black market gun-running scandal. Everything is being kept under extreme wraps because, 1, armed ISIS terrorists are still at large, and 2, this is very embarrassing to the FBI, and they don't want their scheme to become public knowledge. I will be sending further information throughout the day. People with LVMP are disgusted and are pushing for this information to be released to the public. So, hey, if that's the case, LVMP, more power to you guys. But, given the current gang of fumbling bumblecunts in the White House, I could see that, they could screw something up this bad, and this could really be the case.
Mm-hmm.
I always, if let's say we're on a roulette table, and black is malice and red is incompetence, I'm always betting on red.
So, what else we got? The outed as an arms dealer.
Let's see.
And they're saying that he passed background checks at 2 gun shops.
Yeah.
So, Let's check this out here. Two Nevada gun shops confirmed Monday that they sold firearms to Mandalay Bay shooter Stephen Paddock in the last year and said he passed all required background checks. It was unknown if the weapons Paddock bought from the gun shops, New Frontier Armory in Las Vegas and Guns and Guitars in Mesquite, were used in the casino massacre. Police said they found 19 firearms along with explosives and thousands of bullets at Paddock's home in Mesquite. Another 23 guns were found in his hotel room.
Not a gun guy.
Yeah, not a gun guy, huh?
No military training, huh?
No military training. You know what? Man?
Pretty damn weird.
I swear.
You know what else is pretty damn weird?
What's that?
This is coming from DailyMail.com. Exclusives. Okay, so where were we at? Stephen Paddock's Florida neighbors recall how the professional gambler showed off a photo of a slot machine that paid him $20,000, but tell FBI they never saw him with a gun or spoke about politics. FBI agents are scouring Paddock's old neighborhood in suburban Melbourne, Florida today, asking if anybody had ever heard him rant about politics or religion. Neighbors who... Gee, come on, Daily Mail. What's up with your site?
Oh, my gosh. You know what?
Serious crap.
Yeah, I know, right? Neighbors who knew Paddock...
I can't do it anymore, man.
Neighbors who knew Paddock in the adult heritage aisle community said they'd never whoever they'd met Paddock had never thought that he was capable of violence. Paddock is suspected of killing at least 58 people. Dead body recovered by police. You guys know the rest. Retired accountant lived at the $400,000 property with his girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley, the same woman police sought for questioning. No criminal record in Nevada, and said they're still looking.
Well, we just talked about this a moment ago, but I want to go back over.
God, sorry.
But yeah, this is interesting about the.
I'm trying to get the.
Cecilia Franzen, one of his neighbors, said he didn't talk about religion.
Really?
And but apparently he made a lot of money off real estate and knew which gambling machines to hit. Judy said he came by maybe 5 or 6 times in the 2 years that he owned the house. He was a professional gambler. Showed me a photo on a cell phone of a slot machine that paid him $20,000.
You know, another thing that's kind of interesting about this whole situation is the guy kills himself, right? But he waits. I mean, he doesn't wait. He just does it right away. Like, don't they usually like do a little standoff first?
Yeah, have some show.
Yeah, I mean, they're not just gonna.
Aren't they trying to make?
Are you really just gonna cap 500 people and then shoot yourself right in the face right then and there, right afterwards? I mean, was it like, what did I do? Maybe. I don't know, man. You really just gotta
serious crap
to do something like that. I mean, totally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting as time plays on. You know, we get more details and more witness testimony. You know exactly what the hell is going on with this. Right now, I think I'm liking the ISIS theory. It's a sound theory, man.
And if everything, if everything just gets swept under the rug, then that's telling too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if the media just cracks down and doesn't say anything about it and sweeps it under the rug and encourages you to focus on the next. The next pop concert or whatever else they want you to think about this week.
I think we're going to do a follow-up episode on this, guys, and we may try and reach out and try to get some of these eyewitnesses on the show for you to tell you firsthand what they saw with their own eyes and heard with their own hearers.
I think that would be good. I think that would be healthy.
They turned the friggin' frogs gay!
Unless they do that, then that is not even cool.
Sons of bitches.
All right, so what else we got over there? What other thing? You know, one thing that comes to mind is we've seen these pictures now of the hotel room with the 2 windows shattered out, right? There's 2 of them in 2 different. So who rented the other room? And if you're saying that they weren't shooting out of that room, then how did the window get busted?
Right.
You know what I mean? If those windows don't open, I'm assuming. Because if that's the case, how did that fourth floor fire get through the window without shattering the windows? How do you think?
I mean, I don't think anybody tried to shoot back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the cops were held off for 72 minutes?
Yeah, so
Sala weighs in, and if I'm not mistaken, on here is his actual post to Facebook, guy. What? On September 10th, someone gave advance warning of a high-incident project event in Las Vegas that will trigger further security measures at casinos. Looks like Sunday's shooting was a false flag event. And this is from Michael Sala, exopolitics.org. Now, it's all well and good to... The following 5 posts were posted by the same anonymous person, Monday, September 11th. In a single thread title, if anything happens tomorrow,
we already read that.
It's Mossad, false flag level. Okay, you already went through this one?
Yeah.
My bad.
The high incident project.
Yeah, high incident probability. I mean, how do we even get any of this? I mean, is any of this... I don't want to play the Alex Jones clip again because, but I really am.
Serious crap.
I just am, dude. I mean, like, how many times does something like this have to happen? How many people have to fucking die before we get a grip and an understanding of what the hell is going on? Like, you're not going to stop this by taking away guns. The government is running guns. Understand? You can't stop it by banning guns. The government is running the guns.
Anybody who's for banning guns isn't really for banning guns. They just want the monopoly on guns to be held by the state. I mean, I think that should be pretty clear, right?
I mean, to me it is. Some people still can't grasp that concept, but
if you ban guns, you don't get rid of guns. You just make sure the biggest gang has the guns, and
you can't stop mass killings by banning guns. People, if somebody wants to kill a bunch of people, they will find a goddamn way. They will run a car through a crowd. They will knife a bunch of people. They will make an improvised explosive device. They will figure out a way.
Ask old Timmy McVeigh. It's not that hard.
They will figure out a way to kill people. Now, Timothy McVeigh, don't even get me started on there because they blew up that goddamn thing too and blamed it on it.
Well, this is coming from Midnight in the Desert. They say a hotel guest next door to Las Vegas shooter saw multiple gunmen. And an Australian man who was staying in the room next to the shooter in the Mandalay Bay Hotel confirmed that he witnessed multiple gunmen involved in the Las Vegas attack. There were multiple people dead and multiple shooters. I was just waiting for police to come get us. I got outside safely and was hiding in the bushes. Brian Hodge told Australia's Courier Mail. Mr. Hodge, who was staying in room 32134, next door to Stephen Paddock in room 32135, also provided important information when he revealed that a security guard was killed by police. My floor is a crime scene. They killed a security guard on my floor. Who was this security guard who was killed by police? Wendy Miller from Conroy on the Sunshine Coast. Another Australian caught up in the Las Vegas shooting may have provided a missing piece of the puzzle. Also speaking to the Courier Mail, Miss Miller said she was at a bar in the nearby Luxor Hotel with her husband when she saw what she described as a man of interest run by. Miss Miller said the man sprinted through her hotel after coming off an escalator at Mandalay Bay. The man that they, security, were chasing was wearing a security jacket like them. Mr. Hodge's eyewitness reports of multiple gunmen and a dead security guard, and with Miss Miller's reports of a security guard being chased by authorities, suggests that the mainstream media narrative of the lone wolf gunman is not the truth. The fact that this was an orchestrated, coordinated attack by multiple conspirators, and the mainstream media is attempting to cover this up. 2 explosive videos were provided to Your Newswire, have also confirmed that there are multiple shooters involved in a...
That's all they're telling me. They're not telling me anything other than that. They just said stay away from there. They're shutting the whole place down.
Alright, this is crazy. I don't know. It seems like it's coming from up there. Oh shit,
there it is right there. Another interesting thing about this whole situation is this guy shooting all these people didn't shoot one single cop.
One security guard, apparently. No cops. A security guard, but no cops.
I mean, questions upon questions. I mean, like I said, hopefully within the next couple of weeks we'll be able to sort this out a little better and actually try and get to the bottom as more stuff comes out. Now, I've read some stuff saying that the guy filmed himself doing it. I mean, is that the case? Can we see the film? I mean, why not? We can see the film of all these people getting shot and the horrific, ness of that. Why wouldn't you just show us him shooting the gun? I mean...
Well, there's certainly a lot of questions to be asked, and yeah, we're definitely going to have to follow this up in a future episode. Once more of this information comes to light, and once we figure out, how deep this rabbit hole goes.
So if you guys got anything interesting on that maybe we haven't covered, or you want to get in on the conversation in some other way, give us a call, 757-528-8130. That's 757-528-8130.
And if you're outside of the U.S. and just want to Skype in, you can also
hit
Skype
us up at realitybrief
at gmail.com.
Bam.
Blammo. So, besides all the giant holes in this plot with the Las Vegas shooting, they've discovered another massive hole, but it's not here on Earth, because this hole is bigger than the Earth. In fact, this hole is bigger than the entire goddamn solar system. The name S50014 plus 18. It may not mean much to you now, but it should scare the shit out of you. It should make your sphincters clench in terror. This is the largest supermassive black hole that's ever been discovered. And this thing, like our entire solar system, 80 astronomical units wide, right? Like, Earth is 1 astronomical unit from the sun. Our whole solar system is approximately 80 astronomical units across. 80 times the distance from the Earth to the sun.
If you look up on the screen there, you can see that big black circle. Well, that is the black hole. And now you see that little tiny little white speck with the arrow pointing to it? Well, yes, that's our solar system. So that's just to give you an idea of the enormous scope of this giant black hole.
If you took this black hole and set it right where our sun is, Alpha Centauri would get sucked in. It's that big.
So the question is, for me, immediately, how the fuck does something like this even happen? I mean, is this several black holes merging with each other, or was this a giant sun? I mean, how does that work? I mean, what?
Somewhere between 20 to 40 billion suns of mass. Like, this thing accounts for 5% of the entire mass of the galaxy that it is in. It's that big.
How does that... How does this happen? I mean, was this... It almost makes me feel like it might have been artificial. Maybe some asshole out there evolved on an Earth-like planet and decided he was going to play God and look for the Higgs boson or something and collapsed 80 billion stars.
Sucked this whole galaxy into a big black hole.
I mean, really, how does that... Do you know?
I mean...
What did they say that how are they saying that this even happened?
When a game of Katamari Damacy goes too far.
Way too far. I mean, what is the potential for this thing to suck in other solar systems?
Oh, immense. But thankfully it's far, far away. In a completely different galaxy.
Still, it leads you to the question now. I'm not trying to fearmonger, but how the hell did this happen? And can it happen here?
It probably happened with, galaxies colliding over time. Because, you found, like, if you do a Google search for the antenna galaxies, or, what's it, ARP-234, something like that, you can see, where we've gotten super high-res pictures of galaxies that are colliding edge-on or at a 90-degree angle to each other like that. And these big, huge highways of stars get thrown off into space. And, ultimately the central black holes from each of these galaxies spiral in and merge, and it turns into an elliptical galaxy. So if that happens a bunch of times, which it can over the course of 14 billion years... you're going to end up with some pretty big fucking black holes, buddy.
That's pretty amazing, man. Just the sheer enormity of that. It's
mind-boggling.
Wow. A couple of weeks ago, we had this guy on, Thomas Alvin, and he said he was in Darkfleet on the outer rim of the solar system. You guys heard his story. But he did say one thing about his time on Mars with the Martians, that they had some kind of technology that was kind of bioluminescent, kind of like absorb the sun and then glows at night, sort of like
like glow in the dark stuff, but super like, dank glow in the dark
just
stuff.
Like super dank. So we got this article here off Futurism. researchers develop a long-lasting luminescence from organic materials.
Nice.
So here it is here, glow-in-the-dark materials, nothing new. Obviously, we all remember that from the childhood. You can get it anywhere, little stars, whatever. You can get paint, they got markers. It's been around for a long time, guys. We know this. They usually work by absorbing ambient light and then slowly releasing the energy from it, a process called persistent luminescence. However, developing a phosphorescent materials using inorganic compounds is fairly expensive, as it relies on rare metals like europium and diropisium.
What's...
Yeah, but some metal. Okay,
Diprosium.
Well, a team of researchers from the Center for Organic Photonics and Electronics Research Lab at the Kyushu University in Japan wants to change things, and they've designed a glow-in-the-dark paint that is capable of light emission for more than 1 hour and can be applied to organic materials. So now this is a far cry from keeping it lit up all night.
This is going to make strip clubs fun again.
But the potential is there, and the technology is growing. I just thought that would be a nice little nod to a previous interview we had.
Hey, you heard of Moore's Law, right?
Yeah.
You hear it's getting tossed out the window?
Mm-hmm. Screw you, Moore. Your
That's
law
right.
don't mean nothing.
Suck it, Moore. We don't follow your laws, jackass.
No laws around this place.
And in case you guys don't know, Moore's Law, it was a simple observation in 1965. Gordon Moore noticed that in the emerging industry of computer electronics, it seemed that the number of transistors per square inch on integrated circuits seemed to be consistently increasing, roughly doubling every year. So he predicted that the processing power of computers would increase and cost decrease exponentially every 2 years, and then later he shortened it to 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, about that. MIT's got some shit to say about that.
Mm-hmm. Enlighten us, Dan.
Well, currently data is read and written 1 bit at a time, a feat accomplished by altering the placement of magnetic particles on a disk. Instead, this new method of I/O, of reading and writing for a computer, manipulates skyrmions, virtual particles made of small disturbances in the orientation of this magnetism using electric fields. These particles, they're not really particles, they're fields. But these fields that basically act like particles can store data for a lot longer, and they can store more information using less power. So Jeffrey Beach, an associate professor of material sciences at MIT, led this original study in 2016. This new study has demonstrated that for the first time it's possible to create these virtual particles in specific locations and have them be persistent instead of simply dissipating. So this is going to lead to huge advances in big data, and 10 years
so
from now...
So you're talking like a teraflop on a micro SD card now.
Yeah, pretty much.
And teraflop, for those you wondering,
is a ton of information.
Ton.
Current storage capacities that physically exist in magnetic systems adhere to Moore's Law, but they're reaching their limits. If they were to be replaced by this new method using skyrmions, the law could not only be outgrown, it could be eliminated entirely. And what's preventing a shift to new methods what's preventing this happening is we still need a way to read the stored data. It's possible to use X-rays to do this, but the equipment is expensive and it's impractical, so they're working on new methods for... it's easy to write, but not so easy to read.
Right. Do you think this skyrmion technology could be applied to crystals?
Could be. Now, the real question is, we gotta, as I like to tie this back into our core stuff, are these skyrmions, is this even Earth tech? Is this really MIT developing this?
Yeah,
or do you think that this is coming,
Somebody throw them a bone, maybe.
Yeah. Stuff being leaked down from on high.
But, knowing the way that DARPA works... a lot of their stuff that they get, they'll put it out to colleges and be like, develop our war technology, and they'll have contests like, whoever can build the best anonymous drone can get a scholarship at MIT or whatever, shit like that. So maybe this is just part of that. Maybe this is, them letting us know now after they've already developed this for DARPA.
Hey, guess what, guys?
What's that?
Like, hey, guess what, guys?
Hey, guess what we did? We just did it, all right? Shh. We just figured it out. We didn't know it the whole time. It's crazy
but
talk.
We know it now. And, maybe nobody's calling in because it's no fun making a regular phone call. You got to pick it up. You got to dial numbers. You got to pick it up and dial 757-5288-130. But who knows, in the future, you might be calling into our show making a quantum video call.
Bam, bam,
bam. How cool is that? Researchers from the Chinese Academy of Science and Australian Academy of Sciences have conducted the first quantum video call using the Messier satellite, which launched in 2016. The call was between Beijing and Vienna and was completely unhackable. So, using spooky action at a distance, you might be able to one day call into Reality Brief and tell us your best conspiracy theories, and you don't have to worry about Darkfleet hacking your brain while you're doing it.
Totally, man. You know, I think we need some of this quantum communication to hook up to the servers with, so this way we don't constantly drop the stream.
Yeah, thanks, OBS.
Jeez, it ain't OBS, man. It's Verizon.
Oh,
yeah, I done said it. Verizon. I'm calling you out. Quit screwing with Reality Brief. Shit ain't even cool.
Yeah, sick bastards.
Yeah.
Darth Vader phone call, motherfucker.
Yeah. So, quantum video call. There you have it.
Yep. Messier was launched last year, and they have successfully used quantum cryptography to send data back to Earth. So, you know, hey, this is pretty cool.
Pretty cool stuff, man. And, you know, what's interesting is, you know, the first thing you hear, oh, we quantum teleported a photon, then the next thing you know, we've got a satellite uplink quantum, now we got quantum video calls. I mean, this shit is coming quick, man.
Mm-hmm. In fact, I read something about, they just quantum teleported complex patterns of light for the first time. And a lot of this stuff is coming from Futurism, so, you know, a shout out to the staff of Futurism.
Hey, guys, thanks for all that wonderful stuff there.
But, yeah, they have, they've managed to, and this time it's a team of Scottish and South African researchers, so it seems like there's a lot of fun stuff that's not happening in America. So thanks for that, powers that be, for developing a culture with so much scientific acumen. But nevertheless, quantum information can now be relayed through a series of photons, reducing the risk of losing data, allowing them to make better use of light's spatial patterns to carry more data.
As well, incident.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Pretty famous crash. You know, pretty much, it took a while for it to get on the map, but once it got on the map, it's like the most recognizable incident. The general public, I think. We've got an interview that came out in 1990, or it was done in 1999, just came out recently, with an ex-sheriff, and he's saying that, you know, hey, I did see aliens at Roswell, and I did see a spaceship, and this is, you know, hey, I think we're all pretty convinced by this point that something did happen at Roswell, but for some reason, it just won't be accepted on the mainstream.
We're not sure if it was aliens or Germans in spacesuits. But
hey, you know, it could have quite possibly been Germans from what we know about Hanabu technology and the like. But
plus, I hear there are some kick-ass bratwurst sands in Roswell, so I mean,
that's about it for this week's broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be wrapping it up.
You sure we don't got time for one last thing?
All right, one last thing, dude. What you got?
This is that thing from The Sun talking about UFO watchers finding these mysterious alien portals that have been seen from the International Space Station. And now, I don't know if they look like alien portals. That looks like they might be rings of smoke from a missile or something.
But
they're definitely rings of something, big cloudy rings in the upper Earth's atmosphere. And nobody knows really what they are. Could they be cloaked Hanabus?
Talking about here. We've got three strange anomalies. Obviously, to the upper right-hand corner, drifting downwards, just above the
Galactus,
Earth's atmosphere. Is this something? Let's add some brightness contrast here.
I'm just saying, isn't that pretty zooly? Like, you can see him glistening. You can see him, like, shining kind of in the light.
Get a closer look at whatever these anomalies are, Brent. What do you make of this?
What do I make of it?
Like, they're definitely not lens flares. They look like almost like smoke rings.
Yeah,
that's what captured my eye.
Water vapor would
right now we're looking at it, and they seem to be drifting.
Could these slowly and kind of cold
just
coming out of the
anomalous clouds? I'm not sure. We're looking at the whole landscape of planet Earth, and there's really no clouds in the hemisphere.
If you have something that's just lazily drifting back to Earth, you know, even if it's surrounded by a huge magnetic field, it's probably going to be cold. That would cause condensation, therefore clouds. So, who knows?
Sounds
it looks like
legit.
Something cloaked to me.
Well, guys, we will see you back again next week.
We've had so much fun.
So much fun.
So much fun.
I am so ready for the bed. So I will see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Beneath us.